Welcome everyone to the monthly webinar, November's monthly webinar. To be exact, my name is Philip Graves. I'll be your host on today. And as always, I have with me Les Fletcher of eConstruction, who will be co-hosting. At times, he will probably be taking over. Also, we have some from the HeadLight team that'll be on this call as well. We might have Casey who joins in with us, as well as a few others like our newest member, which is Aiden. And I believe on the e-construction side, we have a new member as well. And you will see some of those guys actually pop in and out on this call also. So without any further ado, I'll go ahead and pass it over to Les if Les wants to say a few words, as well as introduce the newest member of their team.
Morning, everybody. Sorry, I was trying to get my iPad connected here, so I'm not sure who all's on here. I do want to call out one thing I see. It's not a member of our team, but we also we have a person joining us today from Hall Hub, and so Alex Richardson works for Hall Hub, and he's going to start joining into our meetings just to kind of listen and see what we're doing. Or those of you who are using Hall Hub for e-ticketing, if you have questions, I feel like he would be able to answer some of those for you here. We're glad to have you, Alex. Thanks for joining. And we do have a new member on our team. I'm not sure if Ike is on here yet, but it went out in the newsletter this morning. Ike is joining us. He has lots of experience as a software developer, and he's joined us as a business technology specialist. And so we're glad to have him, and we know that he'll help us out a lot. We need that person to replace the last one, who was David Orr, who retired last year, and so we've been missing that from our group. So I see Kevin joined. You guys all know Kevin. Kevin and the group are working real hard. I just got off a meeting with them where I was just a listener. They're working real hard to get all these materials forms built and sent over to Head. I say built, like we're building the Excel files and sending them over to HeadLight so that HeadLight can create the forms for us and start getting all that put together. So, thanks, appreciate it, Phil, and I'll pass it back to you for now.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. So now you guys have another source that's joining this call that you can ask a few questions. Like I said, we do have multiple resources on this call that you guys can kind of ping on or reach out to via the chat and stuff like that. So, with Hall Hub being on here, there's some great questions you guys can ask for some of those things that they're doing, some of the great things that they're doing down the pipeline. And hopefully we get him at some point to come on one of these calls and kind of explain some of those. For HeadLight, you guys might be seeing a new face or a new person who actually reaches out to you. He's actually on this call. I don't want to put him on the spot, but Aiden, if you wanted to go ahead and introduce yourself, you're more than welcome to.
Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Aiden. I'm going to be a CSA at HeadLight, and I'm very much looking forward to starting to help everyone out very soon.
Awesome. Thank you, man. I appreciate you for getting on here. He's going to be on all of our calls if there's any questions. So if you see him reaching out, just know it's all in support and trying to make sure that you guys get the most out of our product. So I appreciate you, Aiden, for jumping on. All right.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. As we always do, guys, we want to start off with our roundtable, right? That's basically where you guys can come with any questions that you might have, any issues or anything that you're inquiring about. There's multiple sources on here that can answer some of those questions. So I want to go ahead and reserve just enough time for you guys to do that. So if anybody has any questions, go ahead and drop them and hit us with them. We're more than willing to answer them for you.
Hey, Philip, I have one question.
Hey, James, how you doing? What's your question?
Going fine. Listen, on my daily report, when I'm filling out staff details, I don't have in the contractor list my company to list me as the company that's being tagged for staff reports. Not sure how I'm supposed to tag that.
Gotcha. So if I'm understanding your question correctly, you're saying that when you go in, you're unable to list yourself as, are you doing this inside of spreadsheets or is it journal?
Out of journal, I usually what I do is I create a narrative and then tag staff details, and then I go in for contractor, and it doesn't have our consulting firm as the inspection team. It just has the contractors and the subcontractors listed there.
Gotcha. So when you're working inside of journals, you just want to go ahead and list your name. It's not going to be a drop down or anything like that for you to be able to put down staff details. Okay. So you can just easily type in your name.
Okay, that's fine.
All right. Thank you for
Thanks,
that
sir.
question. I appreciate that, Jim.
Yes, sir.
Anybody else have any questions that they want to ask? Anybody notice anything new with the software? Anybody see anything that they wanted to bring up? I guess everybody's getting ready for the holidays or something like that, right? Everything's going smooth on the projects.
Hey, I want to call attention to one thing, and this is really for you guys, Phil. Philip asked me to add something to the newsletter, and you might have seen it, and you might have already filled it out, but they are doing a survey right now for a new feature, and I don't want to give it away. I'm not sure when Philip's ready to start announcing what that feature is, but I'll just tell you, I've downloaded it already, and it's pretty awesome. So. And just let me go ahead and throw this out there, Phil, just to let you know how I downloaded it. I
Yeah.
finally switched to the dark side, and so I'm no
Oh
longer.
my God. That's good. Well,
Hey,
guess what, Les?
it's my heart.
I don't want to hold anything back from anybody. I want everybody to know, for those who have filled out the survey that Les is referring to, we do have now a companion app. Okay. So for all of my iPhone users, Les just being a new one, we do have the ability now for you guys to download the companion app, which is called the HeadLight Fast Capture app. And it will allow you to be able to take journal observations with your phone. So if you're one of those people that I forgot my phone inside of the truck, or I'm moving around and I just want to catch a quick image, or I want to create a quick narrative about something that I've seen, this app works wonders for you. It automatically goes to the project. So I would tell those who do have Apple devices that this is a good app to just have, because it's been many a times that I've talked to people, and Les can attest to this as well, where somebody says, hey, I wanted to take something, but I didn't have my iPad. So I jotted down a note and I'm trying to get that information later. So this app will help you, because I know everybody brings your phone, right? If it's not work that's looking for you, it's family, friends, business, etc., that comes through those devices. So having this app is great. I even see somebody who is joined on this call with an iPhone XR. So I know that Apple devices are out there, and I would encourage you guys to download it. And for those who haven't taken the survey, I would encourage you guys to take the survey, because not only do we just have it for the iPhone app, I want to gauge our customer base to see where we can improve things for those other users who don't have an iPhone device, who might have Android. How can we help you guys to maximize our product? So feel free to go ahead and fill that out. It's in the newsletter, as well as I sent the email out. If you didn't get that, I can work to make sure that I drop inside of the chat today where you can fill out that survey. Okay, so I will drop that as soon as we get that. Okay. So it looks like we don't have many questions today. That means that everybody day by day is getting real good with using HeadLight Fieldbook, HeadLight materials. That's just going to be my assumption for now, but I think there's always tools we can give you guys to help you improve on using our software. So what I'm going to actually do is we're going to get into our demonstration segment of this monthly webinar, okay? Les, did you want to go first, or did you want me to kind of go first? I think mine's is more in support of your demonstration, so it's really up to you.
That's fine. If you want me to go first, I can do it.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. So I had a couple things listed in the newsletter and the email that I sent out, and I'll be honest about it. I didn't have a whole lot of things that have been coming in lately, which is a good sign. I've not been seeing a lot of tickets come in on Field Book. Even materials seems to be running pretty good. Haven't heard from Kevin much. Kevin, everything going good with the material stuff? Barbier, I'm sorry, I got more than one Kevin here, but
No, it's been going good. Just some issues with syncing every now and then, but nothing too bad.
yeah, I think HeadLight has been releasing, just to let everybody know, I saw something come out the other day about the sync time issue.
Yes.
Has been worked on, so hopefully you guys are seeing better sync times on that. And but anyway, so the things I had today were not necessarily things that have happened lately. They're kind of a couple of features. One that I thought of that I used to use, and since I haven't been in the field, kind of forgot about it, but it was a benefit to me when I was in the field, so I figured you guys might be able to use it. And it's an iPad app. And then the second thing I want to talk about is files. And this did actually come up the other day. So our construction administrator was going in looking at a claim, and it was something to do with pile driving. And there was a big discussion about it, and went into HeadLight. And one thing that, there was some documentation there, but the one thing that we did not see was the pile driving logs. And so I wanted to share my screen and kind of go over that observation type and kind of how you should be using that in the field and some of the reasons why I guess we should be using it. So I'm going to share. Let's see this screen. All right. So this is a copy of a pile driving log. And I'm assuming everybody can see my screen here. Go good. Thumbs up or something. Philip, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see it. You're
Okay,
good.
all right, good.
Yeah. Yes.
All right, so let me move some of this stuff out of my way. All right, so I've actually filtered down. So this is just my demo project, and I'll store files in here every once in a while. And this holds all types of files. So PDFs, you can see I have MP4 video. I actually found that when you upload a video as a file instead of the video app, and this would mostly be something you would do on a computer. It's possible on the iPad, but it's mostly something that might be done on the computer back at the office. You can actually load it at full resolution as a file. So, when you're using the app in the field for a video, the video is being compressed down for the file size, and it's still good. Like you can still see it, but sometimes and the way I found this is there was one job I was helping my old unit out on. They wanted a good video ride through of the whole job prior to the job starting, right? So that would give you a video to go back to and say, all right, what was there before we started doing construction, and where are we at now? Because there's always an issue that might pop up where citizen says their driveway was concrete and the plans say to put asphalt back or something like that, so you need to go back and check. And we were able to upload full resolution video of the whole job. But it also holds stuff like let's see if I can find it. So these are different image files, those kind of things. But it will also do like, I think this might be a Word document. So you do this and hit the download, it is a Word document. So once it downloads, you can open it on your computer. So it's a good place to hold. Where is this opening? Sorry, I got screen problems again. There we go. So you can store Word files, you can store Excel files in here. It's just a great place to store stuff that you need for the project within the project, right? I know that we also have other software. I think FileNet stores a lot of things. I think that just came out not too long ago, and before that it was, what was it called? Somebody help me out. Kevin Adams, you might know. What was it?
Content manager.
Yeah, that's
it was Content Manager.
And so FileNet, I've heard that it's okay. It's hard to find stuff. Again, with HeadLight, if you're uploading it here, you can always add tags. Makes it easy to find. Just this one thing right here. So right now I'm filtered down to just files. And so you can filter the files, and then, whatever you put in here is searchable. So that gives you a little more flexibility. Plans, this is a great place to store plans. Now, I will say you have to download it every time. So it's not something where you're just going to open it up on the app, but it's, especially if you're back at the office and you have a hard time finding where you keep all your files for your plans and stuff, this is a great place to put them. And you can go back. Now, the iPad only goes back a couple weeks. And so as you progress through the project, you would not be able to go on the iPad and see this through the app, but you could go through the web version on the iPad and see it. And so just a handy tool, something to have there. But going back to the pile driving logs. So whenever we drive piles, you should be getting one of these. I think the contractor is now required to fill these out. Somebody could correct me on that if I'm wrong, but I think the new spec was the contractor has to have somebody counting blows. And obviously we do it too for QA, but I believe these are like the QC is actually the contractor filling these out. But they usually
Yeah,
have
it's
go
the
ahead.
contractor's responsibility now.
Right, yeah. And so I think that they have to provide these to you, and then your inspector, your certified inspector signs it. And I believe the person, the contractor has signs it as well. And these are just test things. So these are not signed, but you see you have this file here. And just easily to add it to HeadLight, you go to the, sorry, let me go back to the file here. I'm in my demo project, but of course you would select whatever project you have, and it's as simple as grabbing a file observation, adding a file. Let's see where I have this at. Not sure where I put it. Let's see. Not sure it's going to find it. Might have put it on my desktop. Anyway, we'll just grab something here. So say that was the file that you wanted to do. You open it and it'll upload the file for you. And then obviously, again, this is where you would want to go in. If this were your pile driving logs, you could create a tag, pile driving logs, and then yes, we want to create that. And then here, whatever pile that was is probably what I would name it. So pile 1A and pile 1B, whatever the pile you're driving. And so that would be able to give you a good search to get back to it. Now, it's important because just like the other day when we were looking for, working on a claim here at headquarters, or even if your area engineer is looking at something, it's great to be able to get to that information quickly and not have to do a lot of emailing back and forth, right? You don't really have time to do that as a PE or in your office. You don't really have time to do that. So if it's uploaded here, even if it's something we can't find right away because we didn't know what tag you had, it's a lot easier for you to say, hey, just search pile driving logs and you'll be able to see all of them. And I think that would be a big benefit to us and also you as well, just keeping up with some of your documents. So I don't want to go into it too much farther, but anybody have questions about how to upload a file or any other unique uses for it? I found just for storing stuff in my demo project has been really great, but if you have other uses for it, it'd be great to know. No questions? All right,
Les, I don't have any questions, but I can tell you for one of our off-system bridges project, I am using the file feature for the pile driving logs, and it has helped out tremendously for any logs that we were missing.
That's great. Yeah. Appreciate that, Kevin. Anybody else? Before I move on, I got to switch over to my iPad for the next one. All right. So I'm going to move and share from my iPad here. Share screen. All right. So let me move myself out of the way here. Today, so I wanted to talk to you. This is an app I used to use in the field. it can be pretty advanced, but it also has some simple things that you can do that will help you out. And that is the shortcuts app. So you see right here on the bottom left, that's the shortcuts app. One of the things, so when you go into the shortcut app, if you tap the top left menu there, the first thing you'll see is a gallery. And so this is a good place to go get shortcuts that are already built. So somebody has built these and Apple has posted them here for you to use, or maybe Apple builds these, I'm not sure. But there are some helpful ones here. And so you can kind of scroll through and just pick some stuff. So say you want to do something with images. Obviously, we upload a lot of images to HeadLight, and so maybe you're wanting to do something with that. Even this one here, where was this taken? And so you could add that to your list, or airdrop photos. I know we used to airdrop photos a lot, and so that would give you a little shortcut to do that. And so I'm just telling you here where you can go to get some that are already built, but we are going to kind of go through how you could do one yourself, and some of the ones I've built for myself that I use, and it's only a couple. I wouldn't say this is something you use all the time, but it does save you a lot of steps. So here's just a couple of my shortcuts here that I've made. And the one I used to use all the time is this one called traffic control here. And the way these work is you can actually drag stuff from this right menu over here and put them in to your shortcut list. And it's kind of like coding, to be honest with you. And I'm not that great with that. If Patrick got a hold of this, he'd probably be able to make us some really cool ones. But you can see this one I built here is very simple. Take a video with the back camera, then I put a thing in there to trim the video so that, you know, once you start riding, you might want to take the front of it off or the back of it off when you stop. And then once you stop, you could share that video. And so what I used to do is I used to kind of mount my iPad up on the dash some kind of way, whatever way I could kind of rig it to where it would stand up there and take a good video. And the good thing about shortcuts is they can be Siri controlled. And so if you notice here at the top, it's named traffic control, but you can actually go in and rename it whatever you want. Traffic control is good, so I'm just going to leave that. But whatever you name it, Siri will recognize. And so I used to mount my iPad up there, and as I was going down the road, I would say, "Hey Siri, hey Siri, run traffic control."
Running your shortcut. That's done.
So when you run traffic control, when you hit stop, it'll stop the video and gives you a minute to trim those edges, and then you can directly share it to Facebook. I mean, to Fieldbook, right? Just like I said Facebook because everybody shares to Facebook, but you can share it directly to Fieldbook, just like we've explained in the past. And so it gives you a really easy way to hands-free and be safe trying to record traffic control. And you could use it for anything, but traffic control seemed to be the best thing to use it for at the time. Okay, so here's another one that I like, combined images. And so one thing I see a lot of people doing, and this is kind of the way it was trained to us, and at the time was likely the best thing, is pic collage, right? And so sometimes you take an image and you know they're related, right? You might have two different angles of measurement you just took, or you know, a pipe that somebody laid, and so you want to upload both of those images at the same time to the same observation. Now we recommend you upload image separately unless they are related. So if you have an image of a pipe and an image of asphalt, that would be two separate observations. But just to show you kind of how this works, you go in the pic collage, you tap, grab your photos and videos. You can see it's a lot of tapping here. You grab, you know, 2 or 3 images, you add those, and then you have to move them around and kind of get them to where they look decent. And then you can save them save them to the gallery, create an observation, upload them. So it's a lot of steps there, right? Or you can go into shortcuts, and if you create this little combine images, and I'll show you what that looks like. It's just select photos, combine photos in a grid, show the combined image, and share. All right, and so let's run this. So when I push play here, and again, you could do this with Siri. So I'm going to grab 4 images here at the bottom and hit add. Now I set this up to do spacing, and so just so the images are not connected, you can leave it at 0 here, or you can type a number here. I know that 25 is a pretty good spacing. And so when you do that, it'll put the images together for you, and you can see the white line separating the images. It just gives you a little bit of, being able to distinguish what's what. Hit done, field book, and, post about whatever it is. This is a test. Post. All right, and that goes directly to your project. It's a much easier way to combine like images and send them over. And so one of the things I want to say here, there's a lot of you who are a lot better with this technology than I would be, and so you could go in and set up automations to do all kinds of things. So anything that would help you out. You can see if you go to all actions over here on the right, there are tons of things that this thing will select for you and add into a custom shortcut for you. So it could be whatever you want to do. I actually have some automation set up to where when I get an email from my supervisor, it texts me now, so that I can get to it right away. Or if I'm in a meeting, I know that I have an email. I don't have the email on my phone, and so that was one way to kind of get around that and be able to get to something quicker. Anyway, so that's all I have about the shortcuts. Like I said, it can be advanced. It's really easy to go grab some of the ones that are already made. And then obviously, like I said, being able to use Siri to run those makes it very convenient. So any questions on the shortcut app? Something you guys think you might be able to use? No comments. All right. That's all right. Philip, go ahead and show them what you got.
Gotcha. I think that was really good, Les. And the shortcut app works wonders. I actually use the shortcut app to remind myself to do check-ins, as well as reminders to like pick up the kids. That's a good one to remind yourself as well. Hey, make sure that you have a daily work report submitted for the day. You can actually trigger those actions to just put a reminder out there and send it to you on your screen, just like Les said, that when he gets important text messages. So I think that's a good one if you wanted to dive in where it's automation to set up a lot of things on your iPad. That's a good place to start, and I'm glad that Apple actually introduced that. So take you a few minutes and just kind of research a little bit about the shortcut app, because I think it will help you out in multiple ways.
I wanted to, sorry, Phil, I wanted to share one more thing. If anybody wants those 2 that I have there, the combined images or traffic control, I can send them to you. So they're not in the list for the gallery, but I can get them to you. So just let me know.
Awesome. Thank you, Les. I appreciate that. We can always expect gold nuggets when it comes down to Les and his demonstrations. He has all of these tools. Sometimes it's good to just prick his brain, because he has a lot of those things out there that can really help you guys in the field. Now, what I'm going to talk about is something that has been out there from the beginning. I know a lot of times you guys, we've kind of conditioned you guys to reach out to us when you guys need support, or reach out to our support team. But for a lot of you, there are tools that can help you right there from your iPad. I'm not too sure, is everybody familiar with Academy? But what I wanted to do was kind of browse through that and go over the Academy side of things that actually lives inside of Fieldbook, that actually lives inside of Materials, that actually lives inside of Sample Plan, and any of our other tools, okay? So let me go ahead and share my screen. All righty, let me know if you guys can actually see it. Good to go? Everybody can see the screen?
You're good, Phil.
Awesome.
Yes.
So in the main menu over here, I know we spent a lot of time going over like journals, spreadsheets, how to be able to check those reports, as well as the forms that are available to you guys. And you'll probably see some things like dashboard that's on mine. You might not have that because I'm under my super user settings. But one of the things that I want to go over is the Academy, okay? And the Academy is very helpful. It's reinforcement to what you learn when we train you guys, as well as we constantly go over new things and add new things to the software or make adjustments. The Academy actually has videos that will teach you the intended design and use of certain things inside of our software. So I just wanted to bring that to you guys' attention. But when you pop up that screen, what you should see is welcome to HeadLight Academy. And Academy has iPad 101, which is very helpful if you are a new user or if you were a Android user before having this device, this iPad in your hands. You can find out a lot of information right there on tips and tricks, some of the specialized touching, like the 5-finger grab, 3 fingers, and stuff like that, that will actually help you be able to use the device to its capabilities. Okay. One of the other things is that when you go down this list, we have the all-in-one web course, the Fieldbook web course, showing you guys how to use that for my administrative users or supervisors, where they can go in here and just get a general look of how to use it. As well as we have individual trainings, as we like to call them, they're micro tutorials. And what we mean by that, they're very short and sweet and to the point. Okay. Most of these videos that you're going to see in here are only 1 to 2 minutes at max, where you can go in there and see how to log in, how to navigate Fieldbook, the menu settings and stuff like that. We also have the ability, if you guys want to, after watching some of those videos, you can do a self-check-in knowledge. All right. It's not graded. It doesn't go into anybody, but it's just for your sake to say, am I comfortable enough to use the HeadLight Fieldbook app and all that it offers? As well as we have individualized videos on each one of the observations that are available. I know on today, Les kind of talked about the adding a file and stuff like that. You guys can kind of support what he talked about today with going inside of the Academy and being able to look over how to be able to do those, because they're all in here, okay? As well as the big 4, as I like to call them, that we use on a constant basis, which is image, weather, video, and temperature. You can look in there. Next, we have the spreadsheet side of things that shows you guys how to be able to go in here and create spreadsheets observations, how to be able to look at those, how to be able to edit those in support of that. And while I'm talking about spreadsheets observations, hopefully you can get you and everybody in your unit to show up to the micro learning tutorial that will be at the last Thursday of the month, because I will be going over some of the filtering options, the filtering options that you have inside of spreadsheets. So make sure that you get everybody from your unit to attend those, because that's going to be a big one. I know spreadsheets is one of them that we constantly get questions about, and people want to make sure that that's right, because that's what contains your work items and your quantities. So make sure you jot that down on your calendar. Okay. Next, we go over how to support, how to search inside of HeadLight Fieldbook, as well as how to submit reports, how to edit existing reports, as well as how do you create reports in advance or backdated reports. So this is a good section to go over. So I just wanted to show you guys some of the things that we have out there. We have a nice library here for you guys to go in and be able to gain some of that knowledge and be able to support some of those questions that you have firsthand, right from your fingertips. In addition to that, we do have the YouTube, okay? If you want to go on there, Louisiana has a YouTube where you can go and look at some of the videos that are very specific in their actions as well. So you have a lot of resources, okay? A lot of times I talk to people as they reach out about support issues and stuff like that, and they say, well, you know, y'all should have this somewhere. And I'm like, well, it's right there, you know, in the Academy. So we do have some good things out there. Just want to bring it to your attention where it all exists, okay? So thank you guys for that. I appreciate that. And I think that pretty much concludes our demonstrations on today. I think Les did an awesome job explaining to you guys about the file observation, as well as the shortcut app that you guys can use. In the shortcut app, if you learn how to use the shortcut app, I promise you, you'll be able to start turning lights off, opening your garage, everything else using the shortcut app at your house. So it's very handy dandy tool to use, and I'm glad that Apple put it out there. But last but not least, we do have a lot of tools for you guys to use inside of the Academy where you can see those things firsthand. You can go over those time and time again. And most of the time, it will answer a lot of questions that you guys have, especially inside of field book, especially inside of materials where those tutorials are out there. All right. Hey, Kevin, what you got?
I got something else if y'all don't mind.
Okay.
So Omar had came in from the mat lab, and basically some cylinders were coming in, and not I don't know what district it was, but they were coming in, they were like on a lean. So they had to trim them a lot.
Mhm.
So basically what I told him is like he asked how would we go about notifying the people in the field, like the cylinders wasn't on a level surface or they didn't strike them off correctly. So I said like you could go into HeadLight, open up the sample, go into the form and take a picture of the cylinders that were like leaning or wasn't properly struck off. And then you can leave like a little remark or something to let the people know, because usually the people that brings in the samples maybe not be the same people that made the cylinders. So just to kind of let them know, and then it's documented that it's leaning, because you can only cut off so much before it's out of spec. So
Yeah.
just to kind of let whoever made the cylinders look, you might need to put them on a more level surface, or you need to strike it off. Just a way to keep track of when they come in. I thought that would help somebody like out in the field, maybe make the cylinders better, or maybe put on a level surface if that was the issue, because some of it was consultant, some of it was DOTD, but just a easy way you could take a picture of it and add it to the form itself so you could see it with that actual lot.
Thank you for that, Kevin. And I think you bring up a great point. A lot of people, hopefully most people have gone through the training on materials. But one thing I would say is to create a log option that you guys can add notations to the sample, right? So when the labs actually receive them and stuff like that, you can drop in there and create a log and say, hey, we had to trim this down. And as people start to look at their samples and see what part of the phase or what steps they're in the process, you can review that and you'll be able to see where that person at the lab received that and had to trim that down, trying to help those better habits. I think you bring up a great point too about including like a photo or something like that once it gets to the lab. I think we'll probably have to look into that and see how we can include that. But the best way to get that information out there is using the log entry section to be able to document that, and just say, hey, I had to trim this down, or this had to be fixed up a little bit. And then that's all saved in that history of that sample. And it's good to have that information out there, because you are altering that actual sample at that case. And I think it's good that it's notated. Les, did you want to add anything to that?
I do. I'm going to share again, and we're going to show how you can. So I see we have some lab folks on here, so I'll show you what Kevin's talking about and how you can actually do it. So let me share.
Are all the labs on materials?
Yes,
Or just some of them?
so all the labs have logins, and all the labs have 2 iPads. Now, I will say this, the labs do not have a whole lot of stuff that they can actually do in materials right now. They're really waiting on that LIMS portion. But this would be a good example of something that they could do as far as documentation goes. So really what they can do is, if a sample, like they can't see something in Site Manager, or they need to get into HeadLight to see the form, they do have logins. And so they can get in to see that, but there's not a lot of, I guess you would say, editing that they can do. It's not like they can go put in test results. Not yet. That's the stuff that Kevin and the rest of our group is working on right now, trying to get that stuff together the way that LADOTD wants it, so that HeadLight can build those test forms for us, which they've already started on. It's not like they're waiting on us to get all of that. They've started working on that already. But anyway, this is a sample that I created a while back. It was just a test sample, but it is for Class A concrete, and I have a structural concrete report here that's already attached. And so what Philip was saying is, if you just needed to add a quick note of something, if the lab tech sees something, they could go in here to edit. Oh, I'm sorry, not edit. I hit the wrong thing. They could go in here to create log, and it will pull up this note section right here, and they could put, type in cylinders where on a slant had to be trimmed or something along those lines. The cylinders were not labeled correctly. You could add a quick note here, which is good documentation, but it's not the best, right? An image shows a lot more than that. So this is where they would have to do it. I'll just type note here and create the log entry so that you can see what happens. So you can actually see where it was edited, logged, went to test, and then this is what I typed in here. So it shows up in this kind of chain of custody of when I added that note. And so that's a good place for it. Now, what Kevin mentioned was you could actually open the form, and this might take a minute because our network's still been kind of slow here. You could open the form, and at the bottom of the form, there's a way you can go in and add an image. And so since the labs have a couple of iPads and ways to take images, they could do it this way. You could go here, add an image at the bottom of the form, take a picture of those cylinders or where they had to trim them. That would be good. But I really think the best thing to do here is you can add multiple forms to the same sample ID as long as they're not the same kind of form. And so what I would recommend labs do, if you want to add additional information, such as like lean-in cylinders, or they didn't strike them off correct, is to create a form and select either the sample test result or supporting image. And I feel like supporting image is the best thing to do here. And so you could add that supporting image form, and once it loads, show you what to do. Most people know how to use this. The labs probably do not. And so this is giving them some information they need. Our field inspectors generally use this if they're uploading a CD or, something along those lines, but the lab has probably never used this feature before. And this works for any sample. So any sample that's in HeadLight or even a site manager sample ID, you could probably add a form to it. And so, if there's anything wrong with the sample that you get and you need to document it, this would be the place. So you could add an image here of your cylinders and put it in a description or whatever, and then that becomes part of the, let's see if I can add one. So I want to show you what it looks like on the sample. I don't know what I got an image of here. We'll just use this webinar thumbnail. You can type a description if you like. Once you hit complete, you wait for just a few seconds. You'll see the observations added, and then once the picture actually shows up, once the image is there, you're good, and that means it's on there. So then you can go back to the sample, and now you see it has two forms attached to the same sample. So that would be good. Kevin, I'm glad you brought that up because that is good documentation. We want that, right? We want that lab to be able to communicate with that PE office. Hey, watch these cylinders because this was almost out of spec, man. We want to be very fair to the contractor, right? We don't want to test cylinders and they get a bad break because it was made improperly. So this is good documentation for us. Anybody have any questions or thoughts on that?
I can tell you also too, Les, that when you create those forms, even though it's inside HeadLight materials, it shows up in HeadLight Fieldbook as well. So that way, if there's ever a dispute that makes its way to headquarters, even the headquarters folks can see it from Fieldbook.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because I see there's some read in the chat asked if it sends a note. It does not send a note, but it will show up in that DWR, not in the DWR. Okay, it will show up in the journal feed. Now, whether the PE wants that included in the report or not, the actual DWR report, I would probably say no. That's more of a internal DOTD. I don't think that needs to be part of the report. It's documented and it's there. It's not like we're trying to hide anything. But if that image got selected in the report, I would unselect it before you submit it. So,
yeah, if anything, I believe it. I'm not sure if it locks it out or whatever, but I did notice that when those images were coming over to Fieldbook, how you can click on that part where it shows what documents attached to, it shows just that form that it's attached to.
Okay,
So,
yeah,
and I don't think you have the ability to select it and add it to the daily work report.
I got you.
Yeah.
Actually, here, let's look at it. That's one of the great things about this format is I like the ability to just, hey, let's get on it and look at it together. So let's see what it looks like.
And
We'll go
to
to field.
and to Reed's question, HeadLight is currently working on some different ways of how to send notifications. Right, we understand that that's big, and we're trying to see the best way possible to do that. I know we are testing right now where we can email that creator or that project engineer when those adjustments are made. So I could see that coming to you guys pretty soon, where we have that email notifications, and I'll keep you guys posted on when we have that all set up. And Reed, I'll probably reach out to you, man, and use you as one of the people that we test that out on to see how it all functions and works. Okay. So I just wanted to throw that out there. That is something that we do have right now in the workings, and trying to see the best way possible to present that to whereas everybody's happy with the outcome.
Sorry about the spelling here. I'm doing this just to kind of show you what I'm talking about not included in a report. So right now, if I were to go in, and you can see, so this is the image that was added to the form. So it shows up in the Fieldbook app, and Reed, this is where, if you add this from the lab, the field personnel will be able to see this, right? And so when they log in to start doing their report. And so if I went in now and hit my daily, what it's going to do is it's going to combine these two things that I've done for today. Actually, maybe I did more. Okay, just the two things I did for today. And so what I would likely do is go in, let's see, can I uncheck this or delete it? So I would probably take that image out of the report and submit it. Or if you went in the other way, not using my daily, if you were just manually selecting, you could just select this one and create your daily report with that. I mean, obviously it wouldn't be just one thing, it would be multiple, but just gives you an idea of how you can have it in the journal feed, but not included in a report.
Thanks, Les. Appreciate that. I think that's some good tips on including and what not to include. I think we can pretty much we can probably do a whole session in regards to on how to include those, how to take those out, how to adjust those, as well as edit observations. If that's something that everybody's interested in, I think we could dedicate like a micro learning session, or probably more in depth Q&A session to go over how to be able to use those. Remember that when you're adding observations, that you want to display all observation in the report details to be able to include those. It's much easier to delete those. I think when people are trying to delete, that sometimes you have to go back and visually see, because most of the time it's going to be labeled as image. So you need to find out exactly what image you are deleting out of that report. But the cool thing about it is, even if you take something out of the report or it doesn't live in the report, it still lives in the main files of that project, right? Where all of that documentation still is out there. But the DWR is what is the final result, as well as you have those observations that just live in the project if you ever need to refer to them. So thank you for that. I appreciate that, Kevin, for bringing that one up, as well as us being able to walk through. So Les, thank you for doing that on the fly, going into there and showing that demonstration. So appreciate that. I think we are close to, with our 10 minutes left, 10-minute countdown to the end of this session. Before we do so, I want to go ahead and highlight our heroes, our HeadLight heroes for the month. It goes to two gentlemen inside of District 04, which is Marshawn Garden, as well as Demetron Moore. They did a wonderful job on some of their observations. And if you guys are not familiar with it, if you kind of just browse through the newsletter or something like that, you will see every month that we highlight those that we run across. If it's just randomly looking at some of their work or going through a few projects and we see some great work out there, we highlight those guys and gals in regards to the work that they actually do. And I think these gentlemen did an extraordinary job of documenting lesson I preach, context, context, context. I think a lot of people get so used to just us saying, hey, grab an image, right? But there's no supporting details around it, right? If somebody was just looking at it, or if we were looking at it 6 months down the line, what are we actually looking at? You took a picture, right? Took a picture of a road. Are we looking at the stripes on the road? Are we looking at the guardrail? Are we looking at the concrete itself or the asphalt itself? Those are the kind of details that we need to support that information. And that's the context. And if you go into the newsletter and you see what these guys actually put out there, like the truck numbers and the details that they put into their images, you'll see why it's so important for us to do that. So I want to go ahead and give those guys a kudos. I don't know if they're on the call right now, but we really do appreciate that hard work. And there's more to come soon. So I think I might ramp it up for the month of December, and we might go ahead and put a few more out there instead of just 2. But I thank you guys and appreciate it. Les, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you if you want to go over anything e-construction, or if you want to pass it to anybody on the team that wants to say a few words.
Thanks, Philip. Yeah, we appreciate HeadLight. I'll just tell you on the newsletter, HeadLight, mostly Phil, is the one who does the HeadLight Heroes section, and a lot of the tips and tricks come from Phil, and we appreciate him collaborating with us and get that newsletter out. Just trying to get you informed. I know a lot of times, something that you don't have time to sit down and read a whole lot. And so we try not to include like big articles for you to read. Obviously, I don't want to write that, but we know that you don't have time to read it either. So it's usually just a lot of quick links and stuff that help you get to the information you need. And obviously with the HeadLight Heroes, trying to call out some of those folks that are really doing a great job for DOTD. A lot of times this is a thankless job. And so we want to remedy that and kind of thank all of those who are helping out. And just everybody on this call, just taking the time to join into this webinar and kind of see what's been going on. We appreciate you guys for jumping on for that. I think that's about all I had. I will say we just real quick, I know the big topic is contract administration. The big CMAR project here in Baton Rouge is currently using some of the HeadLight contract administration stuff, and we're getting pretty decent feedback. Obviously there's stuff that needs to be cleaned up, but it's going really well. So we're still marching towards that transition, I guess I should say, next year is what we're still hoping for, and it looks like it could happen. So we appreciate everybody kind of hanging around with us and dealing with the site manager sync until we get there. So that's all I have.
All righty. Thank you, everyone. And everyone, you have a nice day. Okay.